Welcome back to Velshi and Ruhle. The president's attorney, Rudy Giuliani, he channeled some Velshi and Ruhle, telling the Washington Post, it's like waiting for a baby. I mean, I just feel so good about this.
You said it before Rudy Giuliani said it. I will say that.
Copyright that. He was talking, of course, about the highly anticipated Mueller report.
And how waiting for it is like waiting for a baby.
Yes, much like waiting for a baby. Once that baby's born, the work begins then.
All right, even after the report, and here's what she means, even after the report is submitted to Attorney General Bill Barr, the president, by the way, is still going to face investigation because the House Judiciary Committee has document requests out for 81 individuals and organizations linked to the president or Russia, and that's just one of 4 different investigations going on.
So much like a newborn baby, messy, messy, messy. Joining us now, Congressman Steve Cohen. He's a Democrat representing southwestern Tennessee. Congressman, welcome. You sit on the Judiciary Committee. So walk us through what the next steps are going to be like for you and other members of the committee, even post-report, because we want to stress this because so many people think this report is going to come out and everything will be done.
Well, first of all, southwestern Tennessee is really Memphis. We are Memphis. Secondly, what we'll be doing is that we'll have investigations and oversight, which has been missing from Congress, one of our primary responsibilities during the 2 years when the Republicans were acolytes to Trump and aiders and abettors in every way possible to discredit Robert Mueller's investigation, the investigation of one of the greatest investigators and individuals our country has ever known. We will have hearings on emoluments clauses. We'll have hearings on pardon powers. We'll have hearings on possibly obstruction of justice and other issues. Whatever the Mueller report gives us is great. What it doesn't give us, we'll seek. And if we don't get it from seeking it and or having Mueller testify before our committee, we will try to find it through our own investigations, because that's what we were elected to do. And our charge is not limited to Russian interference and collusion, conspiracy with Trump. It's to look out for the violation of laws and how they can, you know, the emoluments clause is a serious violation. You're supposed to come to Congress if you're getting money from foreign potentates. The Trump team and the Trump family and the Trump in-laws did not dispose of their business assets and continue to run their business entities. Kushner's looking for money to save 666, an appropriate number on Fifth Avenue, and other Kushner properties. Trump is accepting, whether he's seeking, people in his hotel and in Washington and Trump Tower in New York.
As a lawyer as well, let me ask you why this is maybe not registering with some people, and why this is so important that you have 2 different entities. You got Donald Trump and his son-in-law who do business together, and they do business separately. They are both people who have been for years trying to raise money. It's kind of what property developers do, endlessly. And they've both been negotiating with people who they continue to have dealings with after Donald Trump had taken office, bringing people into the White House, messaging with people, hanging out with people, and taking meetings that seem to be about their personal enrichment and not dealing with their conflicts of interest.
When Jared Kushner was in Saudi Arabia visiting MBS, his brother, who is his co-investment partner, happened to be in Saudi Arabia.
Well, firstly, most people, developers, do try to get money, but they normally get it from American banks and financial companies, because they haven't had such a bad track record to where they cannot do business in America. The Trumps and the Kushners have had such a bad track record, particularly Trump, that they had to go to Deutsche Bank and whatever schemes they had to launder money possibly from Russian oligarchs and or the Middle East. And if we had a emoluments clause, the reason for it's twofold. Number one, to protect the American public, but to give Congress notice of what the conflicts could be. And then we wouldn't worry about Kushner using some type of app to communicate with people. It's partially a security risk, but it's partially him getting around people having notice of who he's communicating with and in what way. We don't know what he's doing with Saudi Arabia. We don't know what the circumstances are in Iran. Is the pressure we're putting on Iran to protect America? Is it to benefit Trump and Netanyahu and their political journeys together? They have both involved in questionable activities, and that could be in courts, Netanyahu as well, and help him politically. Or is it because of their financial investments? Mm-hmm. We don't know. And it's kind of like the Russian eggs where you take off layers and layers and layers and you get deeper and deeper. We don't know where they are. The American public needs to know. It's transparency that should be the rule.
Congressman, with document requests that you've asked for, you've gotten some back. What happens next? Some people have said they're not providing them. Some people have said it's difficult to provide them, and others have provided them. I think they're in their tens of thousands of pages now, is what we've heard. What happens next?
I think Mr. Nadler has made clear that some of the people said they'd be happy to provide them, but they wanted to do it after a subpoena was issued, just to kind of, I don't know if it's political cover or what kind of cover they needed. And others might need a subpoena to get them to respond. And I suspect that at some time or another, those subpoenas will be sought and they'll be issued.
On Thursday, former FBI Director Jim Comey wrote an op-ed in the New York Times, and he said this: "I hope that Mr. Trump is not impeached and removed from office before the end of his first term." He goes on to say, "A significant portion of this country would see this as a coup, and it would drive those people farther from the common center of American life, more deeply fracturing our country. If impeachment is warranted, how are you going to get Republicans on board for this?"
It's going to be very difficult because Trump has done a marvelous job, and the media has allowed him to do it by putting him on constantly, either his speeches or questioning him and letting him put out his Roy Cohn-like diatribes, saying that the investigation is a hoax and a witch hunt, etc. You see, 50% of the public buys this now. They believe him more than Mueller. That's absurd. It's just astonishing to me that he's been successful, but he's been very successful in brainwashing the American public. The American public that he has done that to are the base of the Republican Party, and for the Republican senators, that's their hardcore. They don't want to alienate. And so I think it's going to be near impossible to get Republicans in the Senate on board to convict this man, even if he found the smoking gun, the tape recording that was in Nixon, anything like that. I just don't think it'll happen. And what we've got is, you say Giuliani said it was like waiting the birth of a baby. Reminds me of the birth of Rosemary's Baby.
Wow. Okay, let me ask you about a character we haven't heard as much about.
How about Rosemary's Baby? That is a character we never hear about.
Your committee's going to be talking to Michael Cohen associate Felix Sater in a closed session next week. How much can you tell us about what you're trying to get out of that?
Well, I'm going to participate in the hearing. I'll be asking him some questions, but at the present time, I'm not aware of where Mr. Nadler wants to go with that. I know he was involved with the Trump campaign. He was also involved in the Trump Moscow Tower planning,
yep.
And he's a character that could lead to more information about when Trump was involved in trying to negotiate financing, what his offer to Putin might have been, what the purpose of that was, and how long it went on.
Congressman, good to see you. Thank you, as always, Congressman Steve Cohen of Tennessee.
You're welcome.
Rosemary's
Nice to be with
Baby.
y'all.
I like that one.
Scariest movie I've ever seen. Actually, that and Gremlins, two scariest movies I've ever seen. Yeah, I don't like scary movies.
Got that.
Real life, too scary for me.